Hello and welcome back to the Willie Morgan Show with me, Callum McFadden, as your host. And as always, I'm joined by the main man himself, Manchester United icon, Willie Morgan. We've got so much to talk about in football. We've even got a few special hellos this week for some of our listeners. But before we get to that, Willie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. We've been waiting on the snow coming. My wife Kay is sat at the window. It keeps saying it's going to snow, and it's actually just started this minute that you've come on. It's amazing. She loves the snow, so it's not too good for the golf, mind, but she loves it, so it makes her happy.
Absolutely. Will you be out building a snowman if it lands?
I think she might be out building a snowman, so I'll sit in the house and look through the window and watch her.
In terms of the show, Willie, we've got a special birthday for one of our listeners this week.
I believe John Bleasdale's not going to be 40. John, if you're listening to the show, many happy returns. I hope you have a great day. I know it's at the moment with COVID, not easy to celebrate, but I hope you have a great day, pal. And I believe you support Aberdeen. Well, everyone has a problem in life, and never mind, John.
I'm sure he'll enjoy that. We have to start, Willie, with some of the big talking points linked to Manchester United. We'll start with the positives. They beat Southampton 9-0. What was that game like for you watching it? Because to score 9 in any game must be incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think the most we ever scored was 7, a couple of times. The game was spoiled, Mike Dean, it was a joke, sending a guy off, and it ruined the game for everybody, apart from Man United and the fans. It was a bad dismissal. He should never have been sent off in the first place. But it was a great result. We're all delighted. And then you've got Sheffield United and Everton, and you think, what? I mean, Sheffield United get why he would, I love Ollie, and I think he's the right man. Why you would play Matic and Pogba in the same team, I've no idea, because they're both, I've got 2 trees in the garden that are quicker than both of them. It destroys, it does though. You've got McTominay on the bench. You need him in there because at least he'll put his foot in. He'll go and win the ball for you. He puts himself about. I like the kid. But to play Matic and Pogba in the midfield at the same time, it was a bad decision by Ollie. I don't understand why he did that. And the match against Everton, we should have won that quite easy. But I said at the beginning of the season, you could lay Liverpool for everything you wanted because they won't win it. And I think, as I said again at the beginning, I think City will win it. I didn't think so halfway through the season, I must be honest. And it looks like now, it's basically a 2-horse race. Leicester's they're not going to stay, and Spurs are out of it, Chelsea's out of it. It's a 2-horse race, and I don't know, you just don't, it's a crazy season. And as we all know, everyone can beat everyone. There's no one team dominant anymore. So it looks like, very much in City's favour at the moment, but you just don't know. Keep our fingers crossed. If not, it'd be nice, nice for Manchester. If City go and win it, finish second, that'll be okay as well.
In terms of the performance against Everton, you've already spoken about how disappointed you were because United should have won the game. David De Gea has come in for quite a lot of criticism. What's your opinion on De Gea? Does he need some time out of the team? Is he starting to go over the hill now as a goalkeeper?
I think, he's been under pressure now for what, 2, 3 years, 3 seasons, because of the people playing in front of him. Our defence is diabolical. It's absolutely diabolical. Maguire is just not good enough. It's really that obvious. He is not good enough. And Lindelof, why he's still there. The defence in front of him, it's hard, and every game. And he's saved us 1,000 times. And then, of course, you get the games where it's gone the other way, where he's not been able to make a save, and it's sort of, it just gets worse and worse. And of course, he's under pressure now, which is difficult. You know, if you're going out there and people say, "No, you're not good enough," and you're over the hill, like, it puts extra pressure on him. He's a great goalkeeper, but he's played. We're dreadful at the back. So is everybody else. I think that's pretty obvious, but I don't know. Maybe it is. Give him a rest. Put Henderson. Give him a rest, and see how we go.
They don't have wingers as they did when you played the game, Willie. As you know, it's completely different. But Marcus Rashford is playing in a wide area now. And one of the criticisms of Marcus in recent weeks has been the fact that he seems to take too many touches rather than putting an assist on for Cavani or taking a shot as early as he can. Is that something that he has to work on, in your opinion?
Marcus Rashford is a good talent, but he's a centre forward, not a winger, and he's playing wide, and it's hard. You know, he's playing out of position. It's not his natural position. A winger, you do it automatic. You don't have to think about it. He has to think about everything he does when he's picking the ball up wide, because it's not his natural position. He's a finisher. He's a centre forward, and that's where he should be playing. Same with Martial. I mean, I don't think Martial was a great player by any standards. He's okay, but again, he's playing on the wide on the left wing. It's rubbish for me. They're strikers, and he should be in the middle. As with Cavani, he's a striker. If you want to play them, play the three of them down in the middle. Leave them open for your wing backs, as they call them. Not that would make any difference with the ones we've got. It is difficult for Rashford. I think he's a good player, the lad. I think he's a very good player. And but he's not a winger. He's not a wide player. You know, they did the same with the lad that left us before it came, the centre forward. I can't think of his name now. Where did he go?
Lukaku?
You know, it's crazy. He's out in the right wing crossing balls in. He's a centre forward. That's not his. It's not his game. And it's not. Well, he wasn't. He was trying to cross balls in. He can't cross a ball, but he's a good finisher. But you've got him playing wide as well. So you have to look at tactics, and again with Ollie, you've got to play your best team at all times, and not pick different teams for different games. You have to play your best, what you think is your best 11 at all times, unless someone's injured. Or during a game, someone not having a great game, you can bring them off and change, bring the sub on. But you have to put your best 11 out at all times. And that's how you'll win the league.
In terms of winning the league, Liverpool were overwhelming favourites to win the title again this season. But they are a team who, according to Roy Keane, have had too many excuses, and this is exactly what Roy Keane had to say on them.
Well, we spoke before the game about they are making a lot of excuses. To me, they've been bad champions. And I just don't mean today. You can lose a game of football, but I can't figure this group out again. I'm looking at them, and even the game during the weekends, Brighton were comfortable during the game. You can be beaten in the game. There's a way to get beaten.
So he's saying that Liverpool, in his opinion, are bad champions because they've made too many excuses. Jurgen Klopp said that his goalkeeper's feet may have been a bit cold at the weekend due to the weather, and that's why he gave the ball away twice for Manchester City's goals. What's your opinion on Liverpool's title defence?
Well, maybe the keeper should have some gloves on his feet. I mean, they wear gloves these days, don't they? And their hands, put some for his feet. You know, I think Roy must have watched our podcast, because at the beginning of the season, I told you they were the luckiest team ever in the history of the division to win the league. They weren't a great team last year. They got every break known to man, every break. They were the luckiest team ever to win the league. And I told you at the beginning of the season, Roy, I'm sure you were, they wouldn't win the league this year because they're not good, they're just not good enough. And at the moment, that looks the way it is. And I agree with everything, obviously. Oh, he's agreeing with everything I've said. I think he must have listened to us, Callum.
I hope so, and I would like to think so.
But I rate Roy because he tells it as it is. He's the one. Well, he's not the one. James Sheridan is good as well, but Roy tells it as it is. I rate that. I got a lot of time for him. I don't know the lad, but I got a lot of time for him because he tells the truth, and it's not easy to tell the truth and keep a job. So he does, and I like what he says very much.
In terms of Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp, they were beaten 4-1 at the weekend, and Jurgen Klopp was quite angry after the game. He was speaking to reporters, and he was saying to the reporters, "You have to be prepared for better questions. Why are you asking me if I'm going to win the league? I should expect to finish top four now. We are clearly not going to win the league." And he got criticised on social media for being quite rude towards the reporters after the game. Is that something that you have to just accept happens when managers lose games, or do you think he did cross a wee bit of a line there by putting his frustrations on the reporters?
Maybe it's the German in him coming out. Who knows? I don't know. I like him. I think he's a good manager. Very animated. But he got lucky last year. And now they're not getting the breaks, and they're not getting all the VAR decisions, all the crazy decisions, and goalkeepers making mistakes that they'd never make to win or to lose games and to win games for Liverpool. He's under pressure. And I know he had a little go at Pep before the match, saying, "Oh, City had 2 weeks off," and Pep said, "I didn't think Jurgen was like that. I thought he was okay, nice guy. But in adversity, that's when you find them out." So he's getting a little bit, what he said wasn't very nice. Get better questions. Maybe you should get a better team.
Talking about getting a better team, 3 positions, Willie, that a lot of people have said Manchester United need this summer: a new centre-back, a new holding midfielder, and a new right winger. Do you think they need those 3 positions, or do you think there's any other positions that they should strengthen?
How long have we got? Well, yeah, of course. We need a whole defence for me. And midfield, well, my thought, I can't believe Pogba's still here. I mean, that guy, his agent promised us he would take him away in the January sales, and he hasn't. He won't be getting a Christmas card next year, I can tell you, or this year. Now, we need, I don't know. I mean, Fernandes, McTominay. I think we need one really good midfield player. The centre backs, you can replace both of them. The left back, sure, he's never done it. He'll never do it. The right back, he's just a young lad, and he's got time. He's not the greatest defender, but he's got time. And the goalkeeper, well, we've already spoke about De Gea, whether he's at that stage in his career where we need to replace him or not. I don't know. Only Solskjaer can sort that one out. But we definitely need right winger or left winger. It doesn't matter which winger. You need someone that will create chances for your strikers. You can't be doing it from the back all the time. They try to play through every single time. You can't. You've got, and against Southampton, you noticed that we were getting to the byline and people getting balls into the box, and it created havoc. And it does. Once you get behind the defence, and wingers do that, that's what they're there for. Once you get behind the defence and you're putting the ball back into the box, it creates havoc for the defence. And we don't have a winger, there is no winger. But where do you find them? It's not all his fault. Where do you find them? There's none that I've seen in the game that plays. This is a coach's game. There's no managers anymore, as we keep talking about. It's a coach's world. And the sooner wingers get back in the game, sooner you get rid of coaches in the school, coaching these kids from 5-year-old and let the kids develop their talent, whatever they're good at, until they're about 14, 15. And then you take it from there. You find out if he's a winger or if he's a centre forward or centre half, whatever. Kids will tell you. So it's where do you find them, Callum? But yeah, obviously I agree with that. Or get Mike Dean to referee all the matches and send the opposition players for you. So it's, you know, the two things I've told you that I advocated probably 30 years ago, 35 years ago, when I was doing Piccadilly Radio. One, do away with offsides. It'll cut out a million controversies. It's simple. Do away with offside. You don't need it. Opens the game up. And two, ex-professional players to be referees. Now, I advocated that, say, 30, 35 years ago, because A, it will give them, you know, when you finish professional football, certainly down my era, not so much nowadays because they earn so much money, they don't need a job when they finish. But the lower divisions, they could still be referees. They don't earn, you know, they're still looking for a job when they finish playing football. And they can't all stay in football. And if you made referees pay, which they, I presume they have now, and you get ex-players, the ex-player, they're not going to be, it's not going to make them great, but the players that the referee know, they know what they're doing or trying to do.
Just on that, do you know how much full the referees in the Premier League earn?
I have no idea what they earn.
£100,000 per year.
All right. And then you see those two decisions Mike Dean just done. So it tells you everything. You see, they're not accountable, though. The problem is they're not accountable. You get ex-players, you entice them into the game when they make, and they'll do the referee, they'll do their exams and that while they're still playing, with a view of finishing football at 30, between 30 and 35. So you've got all young referees, all ex-players who know what's going on. I know when somebody's trying to do someone, and even if he's not done it, I know when he's tried. They're not going to kid you. It'll make a massive difference. You know what's going on. I said, they're not all going to be great. And you make them accountable. If you do make mistakes, hey, dock your wages. And the game will be much better for it. These are amateurs. Even though they're getting paid 100, they're amateurs. They've never played the game. They don't know what's going on the pitch. They don't know. I mean, I watched some of the bookings and some of the non-bookings. You think, how can he book a guy and how can he not book a guy? It's crazy. But an ex-player as a referee, you know, you will get booked if you should be booked. And you know, when people dive in, they'd be sent off immediately. Anyone dives, they'd be sent off immediately. They don't do it. It's, I mean, VAR, it's all right up to a point. But again, you watch some of the decisions, VAR, and you think, who's watching it? Stevie Wonder? It's useless. So goal line technology, yes, 1000%. Goal line technology, was it over the line or not over the line? I agree with that. But all the other ones, it's just somebody's own decision. We'll see. Hey, football, it'll go on forever anyway. And hopefully get rid of all the coaches and get managers back. Eventually.
You never know. Football goes in cycles, as you say, so you just never know. We've reached the listeners' questions aspect of the show. And again, as always, we have a rich variety. Our good friend Otterman's got in touch to ask, did Billy Connolly really sleep on his floor at the 74 World Cup?
Yes, he did, Otterman. He slept on the floor with Rod Stewart. Because you couldn't get a room in the hotel. The hotels are only for the teams. And it was about 4 or 5 in the morning when we had twin beds, obviously. and they slept between the twin beds. We gave them a pillow and a blanket, though. They weren't cold. They were fine. So, yeah, so the answer is yes, he did.
And he's got a follow-up question to that. Who is Willie's favourite comedian, or what is his favourite comedy show?
Favorite comedy show? Oh. Oh, I don't know. There's been a few. Favorite comedian? I think Billy Connolly's fantastic. Talking about Billy, I think he's brilliant. And there are lots that I like. Les Dawson, Bernard Manning, all the old ones are brilliant as well. Favorite comedy show? Oh, Alf Garnett. I think I loved Alf Garnett. Little Johnny Spate, he was the writer for that. He's a good guy. He's not with us anymore, John. But he wrote this series. So, yeah, I liked Alf Garnett. Can't remember the actual name of the show that long ago.
The next question we've got is from Grant Campbell. Was there a particular opponent that you enjoyed battling with more than most?
Grant, battling with? No, there was one or two. Obviously, they know what I was going to do, and I know what they're going to try and do. There was no one I couldn't beat. I beat everybody. But the ones who wanted to make a mark, Eddie McCready was a good fullback. Eddie was, to work a little bit harder beating Eddie. Eddie was good, but there was no one that you battled with as such. I said the two best fullbacks that I played against, Tony Dunn and Ray Wilson. They were both great fullbacks, but they were smaller and quicker. You still beat them, but they were harder than the old guys, Ronnie Moran, Willie Bell. If you won't know who these are, you're probably too young to remember them all. Don Megson, my God. And so, yeah, they were not really, you just want to go out and show off and enjoy it.
The next one is an interesting one. It brings us up to, I was going to say the modern day, but it's 22 years ago now, which shows you how time flies. Would Willie like to have played in the 99 Manchester United treble winning side?
Of course, who wouldn't? I'd love to play in the pitches they played on for a start. Yeah, of course. Any back then, it was still early days, and they were a super team, and they were far better than anyone else at that time. We should have won. We should have won everything. We should have won the European Cup back then as well. They were a good team. Of course, you'd like to play in any good team. I'd like to play in the Barcelona team that of a few years ago, not so much now, but a few years ago. Yeah, I think you look at teams, but where I wouldn't change where I played. Because Burnley were a great team when they were, say, English champions, and of course Man U speaks for itself. So, but yeah, you look at Brazil. I'd like to play in the Brazilian team. I'd like to get Pele to feed me. That'd be nice. So, whatever. Only dreams, though, Grant. Only dreams.
Ian the Hybe has got in touch to ask, George Best was given the opportunity to sign for Hibs, which he decided to do. Did you ever have the chance to join Hibs?
Ian, no, I didn't. I spent the last years of my playing career, I was still playing 39, and I commuted. I played here and then went to America to play in their season during the summer. So I think, I've said before, the last 4 years of me playing, I was playing all year round. I didn't have a break because they overlapped. And so I was playing like 100 and odd games a year for 4 years. And at the end of it, the reason that I stopped playing was tired. I'd come back from America for the last time, and I was just tired because I said I hadn't had a break for 4 years. It was a lot of games, and you're carrying lots of injuries. You know, obviously you get injured, and I was just tired. I wish I hadn't stopped now, though. I wish I'd have carried on. When I came back, I had 2 teams that I could have gone to. Leeds, I think I've said before, and Man City, of all teams. Leeds and Man City. And I just had enough. I'd spent, say, 4 years commuting, and I just wanted to play golf then. So I hope that answers your question.
Next one, Michael Kieran's big fan of the show, big fan of you, Willie, as you know. A question for Willie for Tuesday's show. What did you think of Harry Potts and how he treated younger players? Stan Ternant says you lads were starved in accommodation.
Michael. You know, Harry Potts was different class. But he was under the thumb of Bob Lord. Bob Lord ruled Burnley Football Club. And accommodation. We were in digs. And we shared, you know, you shared a bed with mind, we've been sharing beds since we were kids anyway at home. There was 5 of us in a bed. So just to have 2 in a bed was like, oh, this is wonderful. This is fantastic. There's only 2 of us. But that's the way it was then. You were in digs with the family. And Stan, in fact, we used to, Stan was in digs across the back from us in Burnley. We were up Brunswick, I think, Brunswick Avenue. He was on the lower road. And his landlady used to make great soup at lunchtime. And eventually we sneaked our way in with Stan to have some soup with him because she made better soup than the one that we had. So, you know, you worked hard. As a 15-year-old, at every club in the country, not just Burnley, you're an apprentice. You cleaned the boots, you did the pitch, you cleaned the stands, you did everything. You worked. It was a job. And then you trained at night. We had a place called Gawthorpe. We used to go down at night to train. It's just the way it was. It was the same for everyone. Don't forget, every club in the country had about 60 players on the books, including the young lads. So, but it was a different world. Certainly at Burnley, Bob Lord was a dictator, and he thought all the people that came from Scotland and North East were all serfs. Mine, you know. He wasn't a nice man at all. But Harry Potts was. Harry Potts was a lovely man. But he was under Bob Lord's thumb. So there was not much he could do. But he was a good manager. He was a very, very good manager. And it's a very nice man.
The last question. Oh, sorry.
Stan, if you watched him, where are you? Still in Burnley? I know you are. Stan's a great friend. We were pals. We came through the things together. Me, him, Danny, there were quite a few of us, the great staff lads. So if you're listening, Stan, I know Harry's gone as well now. Get in touch with the show. I'd love to chat to you.
Absolutely. It would be an absolute pleasure. And the last question comes from Paul, who is a Celtic fan. And he says, Mark Hughes, former Manchester United player, was interviewed on a Celtic programme last week and said he would like to become the Celtic manager. Would you think he is the sort of person Celtic should get for next season?
I think that's already. I think Lampard's coming there. I think that's who's going to get the job, without a doubt. Hughesy a great player, a good lad. Whether he'd do a job at Celtic, yeah, I think he'd do a job at Celtic if he can. I think better than both of them. I think I'm going to take the job myself, and I'm going to bring Callum along as my assistant. But they'd have to call us a manager and assistant manager, not coaches. You think we'll get the job, Callum?
I'll be honest, I don't think we could do any worse this season, Willie.
Believe me, I wouldn't do any worse. I guarantee it. I would turn them over tomorrow. believe me, I would get Celtic back winning again, without a doubt. But do you think they'd give us the job if we insisted to call us manager and assistant manager?
I think you know the answer to that one. I think they would start turning our calls down and putting us on the voicemail.
Oh, yeah.